do the thumbnail. That people always do. Ah, my thumbnail. No, I cannot. Okay, let's start this video.
Get in, loser, we're going shopping.
Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Siobhan and I'm 22 and I moved to Korea at the start of this year. So I moved here in February with the EPIK program. So I'm an English teacher out here. I teach in 4 different schools in Buyo in Chungnam province. Anyone who finds this video on YouTube, I'm sure you've already done your due diligence and you've been scrolling, been looking through videos on how to apply and what to expect, blah, blah, blah. This video is for people who have made it through the how to apply, or it's for the people who chose a city like me and then they got put in a province and they're like, so you're telling me I'm gonna be milking the cows after school is what you're telling me, because that's really what I was expecting. Basically, when I was applying, I put Incheon as my preference because I thought, yeah, Seoul, I'm not gonna get it because I was applying in September and it opens in August, and all the videos are always like, oh, if you don't apply, as in this is BTS concert tickets. The second that application opens, you need to hit send, and if you don't do that, you're not going to Seoul. So I was applying a month late, so I was just like, yeah, there's no way that I'm gonna end up in Seoul, so let me put Incheon because it's like right beside Seoul. If I, you know, learn how to do this whole YouTube thing, maybe I'll insert like a map right here. And so this is Seoul, this is Incheon, 이역은 서울역입니다. So, I'm sorry. Don't need to stay on that for too long because from the title of this video, you can already tell that I did not make it to Incheon. I did not make it to Incheon. I'm not in a city. Sorry if you can hear the quesadillas outside my window. That's one thing about living in the boonies. You and nature, like this. It's you and nature. So this video is going to be about the pros and cons of living in rural South Korea, specifically in Buyo-gun in Chungnam province. I've been living in Buyo now for 5 months and it's given me enough time to really like form my opinions on living in the boonies, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and I wrote it all here in my notebook. And I'm going to list them off and explain. So we're obviously going to start with the pros because good vibes only. Like, I hate bad vibes. Before I go into this video too deeply, I want to give a disclaimer that nobody's experience is going to be the same. You've probably heard that in other videos and you like took it, yeah, like, okay, yeah, whatever, but I'm telling you this, look at me in the eyes when I'm telling you this. My experience and your experience are not going to be the same. Even if, I don't know why I'm being so aggressive with you. I'm so sorry, friend. I'm so sorry, sister. Even if I leave Buyo and you come and take my apartment and teach in my schools, our experience won't be the same because we're not the same person. The way you interact with people is going to change your experience. Your experience will never be the same as anybody whose videos that you're seeing on YouTube. Back to the video. The first pro for me was my apartment. So maybe another video I'll do an apartment tour because I got lucky with my apartment. I'm very blessed to have a huge apartment, not just for EPIK standards, I think just for like Korean standards, because like even my Korean friends have been like, bro, your place is like massive. You're more likely to get a bigger apartment than you would in the city. So a lot of my friends who live in rural areas have bigger apartments. Some people even have houses, which might be a little bit difficult because like it's more cleaning and more space for just one person, but just know that you are more likely to get a bigger space, but not guaranteed. It literally is just case by case, but your chances of having a bigger apartment are higher. Good luck. The next pro is just the people. So that is the foreign population and also the Korean population. So let's start with the foreign population. Fuyo, there are probably in total 10 English teachers here. Because it's such a small group, we've been able to get like really close, and honestly, like I genuinely feel like I can depend on the other English teachers here for like a lot. Like if I ever need help, I can count on them to help me, and like vice versa. Also, like you don't feel alone because it's such a small group that we kind of like make sure to be each other's support system out here. And then on the Korean side, people are so friendly here. Like first, you will get some stares. But they're still so nice. Like if you go into a restaurant, all you have to do is say 안녕하세요, and they're like, oh, 한국말 잘하시네요. Your Korean is so good. Oh my god, 서비스. And you get free stuff. And then if you go into a shop and you say a little bit of Korean, you're gonna get something for free. Like you're guaranteed. I leave space in my bag for the free stuff. I have a drawer here full of socks from this boutique in town that I go to. Every time I go there, she gives me free socks because we talk in Korean a little bit. I cannot speak Korean well. So that's a big pro. You're not gonna get that in a bigger city. Like you're not special there. Buyo has really fed my main character syndrome. Like I've been walking around town feeling like there's a camera crew behind me, bro. Another pro is there is less English here. So you would think that is a con. I actually also did put it in the con list, but for the pro purposes, I'm saying that it's been a lot easier for me to improve the Korean that I have here because there's less English. So if I'm going to a shop, I'm speaking to them in Korean. If I'm going to a restaurant, I'm speaking to them in Korean. If I'm going to the hospital, I have no choice but to try and speak to them in Korean if there's no one like that I can bring with me who's gonna help. So it really helps to improve your Korean just by osmosis, assimilation, whatever. Like you're taking in so much of it all the time, hearing the same words. And if you are like trying to learn, you will look up some of these things that you're hearing all the time and you will try and practice them. Like I be in my house for no reason, I'll just be like, 수고했어. I did nothing. There's no reason for me to say well done to myself. I did nothing. But that's what I mean. You're just hearing stuff all the time, you know? I'll just be in my house like, 연습생 필요하세요? That means you need a receipt. So yeah, you learn a lot. There's also less of a like influence of Western culture. So you really learn a lot more about Korean culture just by being here, because it's a lot more Korean than Seoul would be, or like another, like a bigger city. Like there's a lot of traditional restaurants. There's barely chains. It's mostly independent restaurants, and it's more of a cultural experience in my opinion. Another pro of teaching English specifically in rural Korea is you get more money. Maybe I'll insert the pay scale here. Maybe I will insert, please visit epik.go.kr for more details. But if you're living in the boonies, you get some more money. Also, if you're teaching in more schools, you get some more money. If you're teaching in the boonies, you're more likely to be teaching in more schools. More money. Make sense? I know it does. Next pro is that the schools are smaller. So the reason this is a pro is because it is so much easier to like form closer relationships with the students and to like really gauge each of their levels and see what you need for each specific class. I have a class of 2 kids. That's my smallest class. 2 babies, 2 kids. There are big schools here too, and that is just my situation. The last pro is if you are a homebody, then this is the place for you, darling, because there's not much to do, so you can spend all the time you want in your gaff. You can just stay in your house and you can chill and you can watch Netflix and you can read and write and paint and do whatever you want to do in your house and find out more about yourself and, you know, really explore who you are. Yeah, you can do that here. There's no FOMO because you're not missing out on anything. Like, it's not a lot going on. So, okay, now let's switch over to the bad vibes and talk a little bit about the cons. I actually have more pros than cons. So there are a lot of pros to living in the boonies, and I just want to tell every soul who received their email from EPIK and it said, congratulations, you have been placed in Boonie Town. Don't cry, don't stress. It's not all over.
Don't cry, don't beg. It's all over.
You can still have an amazing experience. You can still have a really good time. There are a lot of pros to being in the boondocks, and you're really gonna find yourself. The first con, and in my opinion, the biggest con, the most just ghetto, the most just I really want to fight everybody con, is different breeds of insects that exist here in the boonies. It's disrespectful. There's too much life. It really makes me angry that when I want to take my recycling out, something that already makes me anxious. If you know about the recycling system in Korea, it's hard, and I'm already anxious. I'm already scared somebody's gonna come up to me and be like, yeah, what are you doing? And then I'm gonna try and put my trash away and I see a shiny green spider the size of my hand. What's the meaning of that? If I'm walking, I need to watch where I'm walking in case I walk into a spider web. Just in thin air, not beside a tree, in thin air. The spiders here are built different. They grip onto the air. And since it's so hot, the air is stagnant in place. So the air stays in one place for the spider to be able to build its web across to another air. Second con is the transportation. In Chungnam, there is KTX. If you're in somewhere that has shi at the end, like Gongju-shi, Chonan-shi, Nonsan-shi, then you are most likely going to have a KTX because that's a city. I'm in a gun. A gun is a town. We don't have KTX here. So the transportation is booty. There's a bus that goes to Seoul. There's a bus that goes to Incheon, Suwon, Daejeon, Chonan, and Sejong. And these buses take ages. They're also super infrequent, and the last one is super early. So unless you are staying somewhere, this is a long-winded way of saying that the transportation is booty. Con number 3 is everything closes mad early. So most places here close at 10, which is ghetto. Like if you want like a little snack at nighttime, you are going to have to go to GS25 and get some ramyeon. That's what you're having. Otherwise, you're gonna eat air or you're gonna have to cook for yourself. Yeah. Next is there is not that much to do. So there's only one bar, there's one cinema, there's a coin note. There are some norebangs. Some you can go into, some I've been told to avoid because it's not really a norebang. If you catch my drift. There are cafes. You can hike if that's what you want to do in 40-degree weather. Basically, there's not that much to do here. You kind of have to leave if you want to like do more things. There's not that much shopping either. If I want to shop, I mostly leave, which is hard when the transportation is as bad as it was, as I said before. Number maybe 5 is the lack of English. So I said before that it's a pro, but it's also definitely a con when it comes to things like going to the hospital or to the dentist, or just like trying to do like admin is really, really hard when you can't speak Korean well. The final pro is that it is so much easier to isolate yourself. Because like I said, it's hard to get out of here. There's not much to do here. There is a close group of foreign teachers, but if you isolate yourself from that group, then you don't really have anyone around you. And before you know it, you can feel really, really alone, especially as well if you couple that with the fact that you won't be able to speak the language well if you don't know Korean well. It's easier to isolate yourself when you're in the boonies than if you're in a big city, in my opinion. So that's the end of my video. I hope it's not long, and I hope that you're able to gain something from this video if you are applying for EPIK. I know the application for next year starts in August 23rd. So yeah, I hope that it helps in your decision, and I also hope that if you do end up being placed in Chungnam, you're not too stressed, because it's not the end of the world. It's actually the beginning of a whole new world of experiences. Wherever you are in Korea, you're gonna experience something new, and just think of it as a year that you're gonna experience something that, if not for the fact that you are randomly dropped in the middle of Korea, you never ever would have experienced it in your life ever. So thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe and everything else that like YouTubers say when they're ending a video, and see you in my next one. Oh, gross.